when there is no more room in hell.
Well, sometimes dead is better.
The dead will walk the earth.
I'm really excited. This is the first night ever we're doing the Shambling Horror Podcast, episode 1. Episode 1, you nerds! Yeah, dude, I'm super excited for this. Let's go ahead and get into this. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go over current events for like survival horror stuff, and then we'll do my top 10 survival horror games. And obviously, we got live chat going on. You know, get in the live chat. There's also a number you guys can call. That'll obviously be linked in the podcast description, and we'll listen to those live on the show and react to those. But yeah, that's a live number. You can just leave a message and we'll listen to it on the stream. But yeah, let's do this. So there's been a lot of, so what's interesting is with this Unreal Engine 5 stuff, there's been a lot of like remakes of everything. They did this in Unreal Engine 4 also. But specifically, though, with Unreal Engine 5, they recently did Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. They completely redid Kakariko Village in Unreal Engine 5, which is fucking crazy. But yeah, so they're redoing a bunch of these games in Unreal Engine 4 and Unreal Engine 5. One of them is Silent Hill, the original Silent Hill. Not my favorite Silent Hill. We'll get to that later. There's a studio like fan remaking Silent Hill in Unreal Engine 5. The thing is, they're not planning on releasing it. There is like a 4-minute trailer, like some pre-alpha gameplay stuff. So there's an article here they wrote about it, and I honestly hope what they do is maybe this is the final push that, like Konami needs to get off their butt and like make something happen with the Silent Hill series. There's been rumors for years. There's even like an article here that they wrote about the Silent Hill 1 remake, like a complete remaster, because like that's a thing people do now. I really hope they do that. It's definitely spoiler alert, Silent Hill is in my top 10 ever. We'll get to that later. But yeah, I'm excited for this, although we are getting a new game, Slitterhead. I feel uncomfortable saying that name. I don't know why. Slitterhead. I don't know, man. I don't know what it is about that name. It sounds like a dirty word, dude. But sorry, I'm a little under the weather. Yeah, so yeah, it's the original game director basically is doing Slitterhead. There was a trailer for that. They premiered that. I believe it was at the Game Awards. If you haven't seen a trailer for that, it's actually kind of wild. There's all kind of crazy, like, weird people splitting open and monsters and just kind of creepy, just general creepiness. So let's go ahead and go to the next one. Dino Crisis in Unreal Engine 5. Although I don't know what Dino Crisis Regina is. So I played. Let's look at this article. So I played the original Dino Crisis and the second one. And I want to say I had a third one. I want to say it was on some other console. I think somebody gifted it to me. Somebody gave it to me. It seems that Capcom's Dino Crisis has been often forgotten, at least by the industry at large. Yeah. Original Xbox all the way back. Yes. Okay. So it was on the original Xbox. I'm not a crazy person. That's what I thought. Okay. I was thinking, I was like, I remember playing the original on PlayStation, but I couldn't remember if it was on the Xbox or not. I think the third one was on the Xbox. But yeah, basically Dino Crisis is like this. It's like Resident Evil, but it's like dinosaurs. It's like the fucking best. It's so good. I will also tell you that Dino Crisis had some of the hardest goddamn puzzles ever. That game, I remember it having like these horrendously hard fucking puzzles. But all right. So it says, while there's no sign that we'll get a new Dino Crisis game soon, self-professed lover of video games created a series of renders depicting numerous characters. Interesting. So this is just a reimagining. It's not like an actual... They are Unreal Engine 5 renders, but they're just renders. I mean, this is cool. This is neat. I appreciate this. I would love for them to announce a new Silent Hill, but I would really, really love for them to announce a new Dino Crisis. Like really love for them to announce it. All right, so this one's gonna be a bit contentious. This next bit. So, Resident Evil: Welcome to Raccoon City released on home video February 8th. So, Resident Evil: Welcome to Raccoon City is the latest Resident Evil movie. It's a little contentious because like this movie, it like I like the movie. I'm a huge mega fan of Resident Evil. I mean, I really am. But like, I appreciated that movie because like it stuck the landing on a lot of the like the lore stuff, right? Like from the series. But a lot of it like didn't. Like there were characters that never met until later, and like some settings that were like swapped around, and it was like weird. Which is fine, but I will say objectively, it's not a good movie. Like, do you guys understand the difference? Like, you can be a fan, like I can be a huge mega fan of Resident Evil, and I can like this movie, but I can also say like it's not a good movie, right? Like, I wouldn't necessarily recommend this movie to everybody, right? Like, I could take like Spider-Man, No Far From Home, and I could recommend that to literally anybody, right? That's not this movie. You can't like, it's, I don't know, man. I don't know. I like the movie. It wasn't a good movie though. It was sort of low budget and it was not great. So basically this Resident Evil movie, Welcome to Raccoon City, is going to be, there's an official release date. This will come out on February 8th. The physical version will come out. Although, do people even like buy physical versions anymore? You know what's funny is I might actually get this. I might actually get this movie. I have a weird knack for collecting zombie movies, like the physical editions of zombie movies. I just sort of end up with them. I have like the VHS of 28 Days Later, and I have like the double DVD combo. I have two separate copies of original 28 Days Later. I have like the original zombie, like Zombi zombie. I have Cannibal Holocaust, Hannibal Caucasians. Oh no, dude. No, I had that on DVD, which is crazy. They released a bunch of that stuff on DVD when I was like a teenager, man. There was a Suncoast Video near my house. And a friend of mine who was in a band worked there. He was older than me. He was like a senior in high school. And I was like a freshman or a sophomore at the time. I was a freshman. And I used to go to the mall right near my school. And I would get all of, like, he would always go, oh yeah, man, I got like the dope like zombie movie or like this like dope like horror movie, man. It's on DVD. Like, here, I'll hook it up or whatever. And I'd buy it, but... yeah, so the movie underperformed. It made its money back, which is important. More Resident Evil movies and not less Resident Evil movies. You know what I mean? Maybe it'll get some people into the series. Resident Evil 2 was like one of the greatest games ever made, and then they remade it, and that was one of the greatest games ever made. So like, yeah. But anyway, yeah. February 8th, if you're looking for Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City, it comes out on February 8th, physical. It's available to stream everywhere right now. But all right, let's go to the next thingy. I know a bunch of my friends who play this. My moderator, Inspiring Unicorn, plays this game or used to play this game to death. I know tons of my friends who play Dead by Daylight. Dead by Daylight, apparently, this is crazy. They decided to remove Leatherface cosmetics following in-game harassment. So basically what people were doing, if you're not familiar with Dead by Daylight, it's basically this game where you play as like a killer or like victims potentially, and you have to like, you play this cat and mouse, and like Michael Myers will like chase you around, and you gotta like set traps and like survive basically. It's cool. There's like Pinhead and Hellraiser and Pyramid Head, and they have Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Well, I guess the problem is when you played as Leatherface, they call him Leatherface because he wears another person's face on his face. And I guess what people were doing is they were cutting off the faces of other players with Leatherface that were other races, and then they were doing like and saying like racist shit in like literal blackface. Or like literal, I guess like Asian person face. Like, this is why we can't have anything nice in the internet, guys. Like, what are we doing? What the fuck are we doing? So yeah, so they basically got rid of Leatherface cosmetics because people were being ugly on the internet. That sucks, man. That's a really cool like concept, right? Like that's a really cool ass concept. You could kill their victims and wear them. I don't think I've ever played into the game like that other than maybe it wasn't the original Prey, but there was a game, was it called Anomaly? There was a game where you could essentially like kill like you were like tearing up parts of the city. It was way back in the day. It was an older game, and you would tear up parts of the city, and you would like absorb your enemies and like make them make you stronger. It was I can't remember what the hell the name of that game was, but yeah. So that sucks. So they basically had to put a statement out, and were like, members of the community shared their experience with people targeting and harassing them. So they took it off. So yeah. We will be removing the cannibals' unlockable faces in the upcoming mid-chapter. Yeah, so they're done with that. That sucks. Well, it sucks that it got ruined. Like, is this a really cool idea? But, all right. So we got a couple left, couple more current events left, and then we're going to go through my top 10 survival horror games ever. Stalker 2 got moved. So what's interesting is I have not played Stalker, the first one. I feel like I should go back and do that. I don't know why. I just missed it. I missed playing Stalker. But yeah, so Stalker 2 got delayed. I guess there's been rumors for a while. I actually thought it got delayed before. Like, I thought this had been delayed before. But I guess it hadn't, or it wasn't delayed. So now they officially announced they're going to delay it by, what did they say here? I think like 6 months? December 8th, yeah, so almost a year. Yeah, they're delaying this game by almost a year. That's wild. So they basically said that this just Stalker 2 Heart of Chernobyl. It looks great, but they just got too much shit going on. They're gonna put more polish on it, so it's all good. Delay it. I'm pretty sure it's going to be on Game Pass, Stalker 2. It's going to be on Game Pass, like day one Game Pass. So, that'll be a nice holiday. That'll be a nice holiday title for us now. Although, if Zelda comes out when I feel like it's going to come out, it won't matter because I will literally not be playing anything else. I will literally not play anything else other than Zelda when that comes out. But, yeah, Stalker 2 is like this super creepy, weird, like, well, Stalker, the original, was like this weird first-person shooter, like survival horror game where you like played like inside of like the Chernobyl area, and there was like all this crazy shit going on. It's really neat. I need to go back and play it. I am fully aware of it. I've watched people play it, but I've never got in there. But yeah, man, I'm really excited for Stalker 2. We got 2 more things I want to go over, and then we will be going over top 10 list that I made. All right, cool. So, Devour is another game that I've never played, but it's one of those things I'm sort of aware of. So, you guys know who know me that I'm not a huge fan of. I shouldn't say that I'm not a huge fan, but I'm not super like hip on like co-op survival horror games. So like your Phasmophobias or this game. Or even Left 4 Dead, even though I played Left 4 Dead back in the day with my friends, like, it's one of those things, I love playing with you guys, but I also like to take my survival horror, like, single player and, like, take my time. I don't know. It's just it's like a personal goddamn choice. But there's this game called Devour. It's on Steam. It's like $4. Essentially, you have, I think it's 4 players, and you go in and you play as like this group that's trying to stop like a cultist from there's like all these occultists and they're trying to essentially drag you to hell, like summon demons and shit, and you have to like battle them. It's kind of like Phasmophobia. It's what it reminds me of. But they are adding a new map. It is called Gold Rush Mining Town, and it looks creepy as shit. That looks like a Grim Reaper in the window. Sam has performed a deadly ritual to summon Azazel. Oh, Azazel, that's cool. Azazel is, wasn't Azazel like a fallen angel? Well, they're all fallen angels, but, or I'm thinking of, who was the demon from, The Exorcist? Wasn't that Zuzuzu or whatever? Pazuzu? I don't remember. But regardless, this sounds really neat. The trailers and stuff for this game look really great. I mean, the game is super popular. Yeah, look, Phasmophobia and Dead by Daylight, they're just co-op game, like co-op survival horror games. But yeah, if that interests you, new map is being teased. I don't see a date for that yet. I don't see a date for that yet, but it's being teased now. So this is cool. So there's actually like, I don't know if you can play this yet, but there's or I don't know if they're sending it out so people can test it, but basically, Code Veronica is getting a remake, a fan remake, which is cool. It looks like they're using the assets from Resident Evil 2, the Resident Evil 2 remake, and they're actually like making Code Veronica, which is amazing. They said it'll approximately take about 12 hours to finish. It'll be 3 chapters total. And they did say it takes about 12 hours to finish the original. I don't remember how long it took me to finish the original. I love that game, but it's very hard. Code Veronica is a very hard game. So like I almost like, it's just hard. There's lots of damage and lots of puzzles, and it's just, it can be tough. Code Veronica is a great game if you haven't played it. There's a couple different ways you can get your hands on it. Apparently they did release it last year on the Xbox for like 2 weeks. But other than that, I'm not sure where you would even find Code Veronica, like outright, like if you wanted to find it. But yeah, this is going to be a Code Veronica remake with the Resident Evil 2 assets, which I'm really, really excited about, man. It's going to be great. It's going to be completely free. It comes out sometime this year. But yeah, let's move on to this last portion of the podcast, and then we'll take any questions. We'll take any kind of questions we got. My top 10 survival horror games. And you guys are more than welcome to debate me in the live chat. I'm sure this is like one of those contentious, like, this is a very like contentious subject. Top 10 survival horror games. So I have my list. I have already have it done. So first one is gonna be Condemned. So this is a game, I don't know why I did that. So Condemned Criminal Origins, or just, I think there was actually 2 of them. But listen, Condemned is cool. Condemned is this game. It was, so like Silent Hill 2 scared the tail out of me back in the day. But dude, if fucking Condemned didn't scare me so bad, dude, like fucking, this was one of those games where like you play as a detective who is called to the scene of like a murder, and you get there and you're discovering clues, and then you realize that the murderer might still be in the building, right? And I'm gonna not kind of spoil stuff for anybody who wants to play any of these, because I recommend every game on this list, if you can get your hands on them. So yeah, so Condemned is cool, like, and then it gets really like supernatural and like weird. There's all this like crazy Grim Reaper shit and all this like spiritual shit going on. But your main job in Condemned, you have 2 jobs: to fight like crazed people who will like, you go through all these abandoned areas. Like, there's a really creepy ass, you go through like a shopping mall, like an abandoned shopping mall, and there's all these mannequins everywhere, and they may or may not start moving around, and it's like creepy as shit. But you get like heavy weapons, you get like a gun and like pipes and shit, and dudes will run at you and you have to kill them. But it's like really scary. Like, they will fuck you up. They come running out of nowhere, start breaking in doors and shit. But your other primary job is like a CSI detective. So you essentially, it's like Seven, the movie. like forensically. Like you go through and you have to like use black lights and cameras and like tear apart the scene to like find clues and shit. And it's like really, really interesting. That's why Condemned is my number 10. Absolutely highly recommend it. If you like detective, like noir kind of games, but also survival horror, it's definitely super good. All right. Second one on this list. Is Dino Crisis. So, Dino Crisis. This is a game I talked about earlier. So, Dino Crisis is weird because it's one of those games that, like, I don't think Dino Crisis gets nearly enough love. I really don't. I don't think it gets nearly enough love. It's a fucking beloved game to the people that like it, and then, like, nobody knows about it. Like, it's actually really shitty that, like, it came out at like the same, and Parasite Eve is the same way. Like Parasite Eve, Dino Crisis, like there were a bunch of these games that came out and were influenced by Resident Evil, like the original Resident Evil and Resident Evil 2, but like they lived in that game's shadow and they still do. Like, does that make sense? Like there's something like System Shock's another really good, although that's more of an FPS to me, but regardless, they are redoing that. But yeah, Dino Crisis is cool. It's like Jurassic Park, but like the survival horror version, like more like it's like Resident Evil. You have like tank controls where your character moves like on like a pivot, like your classic Resident Evil controls or Silent Hill controls. But you're fighting against like velociraptors, and there's like a T-Rex who will like tear walls up and shit and fuck you up. It's actually really wild. But yeah, I highly recommend it. It also has a ton of really hard puzzles. Dino Crisis is one of those games that you have to play it with a notepad in front of you and a pen. And you have to like write stuff down. You'll get, if I remember right, it was either Dino Crisis 1 or 2. You get to a portion where you have to like remember math and shit and like add and subtract stuff. And it's like actually really hard, which is cool. Although I'm an adult now. So it might not be quite as hard as that. You know, like it's like different. It's different when like you're an adult than when you're a kid. Like playing some of this stuff. It's just a lot different. But I would be incorrect if I didn't add this next one to my list. The Last of Us. So okay, so the first one, not the second one. So, The Last of Us is, like, I want to say it's like, it defines like a generation. Like, that console generation, like PS3, PS4, but right, both. PS3 for sure. They re-released it on PS4, it's fantastic. That's the version I have. It's really good, man. It has some of the best writing. It's so good. There are like moments in The Last of Us where you're just like, yo, dude. It's like super heavy, man. Some of the themes in that game. It's pretty straightforward. Like, it's a linear game. You know, you start at the beginning of the level and like work your way through. Now there's some optional stuff, like you can explore and get extra supplies and stuff. It's like that with Resident Evil also, and a lot of your older survival horror games. But yeah, Last of Us is wonderful. Voice acting's great. The graphics are great. The game is fun. The AI is really smart. The AI will come and get you. And there's some literal moments of like holding your breath in The Last of Us, man. It's so scary. But like I said, I am openly and vocally not a fan of the second one, and it's only because it has literally nothing to do with anything other than the fact that I know what they did with the story, and please don't spoil it for me, or not me. You can't spoil it for me, but they did some stuff with the story that I did not appreciate. It was almost offended by it. So I have not played it. that game could be the most fun game in the world, and I don't want to play it because I know what happens in the story, and I will not enjoy playing it. So that is what it is. It would be like, I'm a huge fan of Zelda, but if they put out a game and they were like, and this is not what happens in that game, but if they were like, hey, and I found out before the game came out that they kill like fucking, I don't even know, like they kill Link and then like make Zelda disappear, and then you play as like Shribble Shrabble or some nonsense, some character I've never heard of. That's the kind of crazy like narrative shift I'm talking about. Like, I would not enjoy that, so I just wouldn't do it. I wouldn't play it. So, but the original Last of Us is great. It's one of the best games I've ever played. It's super good. Basically, to give you guys an overview, it's it also has probably one of the most sad openings to a video game I have ever, like, oh, it's a gut wrencher. But it's your typical like world goes to shit. There's like this actually exists in a world, which is weird too. It's a fungus that it's called like encephalopsy. I can't pronounce it, but basically it's a fungus in the real world that infects mostly ants and insects, and it makes them climb to the top of like a leaf or like a leafy plant and bite or like sit there, and then they die, and the spore actually sprouts from the body of the dead host and bursts and spreads, and basically that infects people. And so like they become like these walking spore creatures, and they're blind because their heads are all messed up because shit's coming out of it. But that sort of ends the world, and that's where we start off with that game. Highly recommend it. Cannot say enough about it. It's super good. All right. So, next one. The next one. So, this one was hard. I actually want to say Dead Space / Dead Space 2. Right? I want to say Dead Space / Dead Space 2. So, man, I like them both so much, dude. It's my show. I can do whatever I want. Whatever, dude. I can never decide which game I liked more. Dead Space is that's actually a really cool series of movies too. So if you ever get a chance, watch. I think there's 3. I know there's at least 2 movies. They're animated movies, and they're really, really good. They're really graphic though. Don't watch them with kids around. So Dead Space is a survival horror game. Takes place in space on a ship. And basically, without spoiling anything, what happens is, there's all these like mining companies and stuff in space, like trying to excavate things and like explore and like pull resources out of like planets and stuff. And you play, and it's been a long time since I played it, but essentially you play as like a miner. Like you're in this organization, and they find like an object, and it's like a religious object. And how do I describe it? Dead Space is weird. It kind of reminds me of Event Horizon. Basically, they find this object, and it makes everyone go nuts on the ship. And not only do they go nuts and start killing each other, they also like explode and turn into like these demonic creatures and shit. So that's kind of where we're at. And you're on the ship, and shit goes to hell. And you have to essentially use your like mining equipment as weapons, sorta. Like you have like a one of the main weapons in the game, and one of the coolest parts of Dead Space and Dead Space 2 is you can shoot their limbs off, but they keep coming at you, and that was kind of new when that game came out. You have like these laser guns, and you'll laser off their limbs, but they'll keep crawling at you, and it's like horrific. They also had, I don't think it was in the first one, but it was in the second one. They had like baby versions of these creatures, and they were really scary. They were really spoopy. They were scary. But yeah, highly recommend Dead Space. So the reason I put Dead Space and Dead Space 2 on here, I really, really, really enjoyed the first one. It scared me. It scared the shit out of me. It literally scared the shit out of me. Thing is, the second one like took it up a notch as far as like gameplay and shit like that. So I cannot decide which one of these I like more. They're both making the list. Fuck it. I don't know which one I like more. They're both so good. They're both one big ass game to me, basically. But yeah, I highly recommend Dead Space. If you have not had a chance to get it, I think it's pretty much everywhere. I think you can get Dead Space pretty much everywhere now. Number 6 is gonna be Soma. So I'll actually type this out correctly because it's not Soma, it's Soma like this. So I actually just talked about this game. I think it was literally last night with was it Wicked Kittens? I think it's somebody else. I was in Discord talking with some friends of mine, other content creators, and I highly recommend this game to everybody all the time. This game has been out for a couple of years. It's called Soma. It's one of those survival horror games where you do not have a weapon, and you essentially like just have to run and like escape. It's like your Amnesias and things like that, right? Like, or not Evil Within, but like Outlast, right? Like we're not necessarily attacking anything. You sort of have to run. But actually, it's funny is it's made by the developer of Amnesia. Soma is. So there's that. But it's the setting of this game. I cannot give too much away. It starts off with you get in a car wreck and you've got like some degenerative stuff going on and you go in for like a brain scan and it just is off the chain. Yeah, I can't give too much about this game away. But yeah, it's got like robots and cyborgs and weirdness. The thing about Soma that makes it so like gripping, some of the scary stuff is really scary. But some of the other stuff is really rough. Like you have to make like life and death decisions, and sometimes they don't give you a choice. Like unplugging people's life support and all kind of just really horrific, just like, and you're like, wow, dude. Wow. Like, there's also some really like huge big brain, like universal big brain, like questions about like existence and consciousness and all kind of weird. Yeah, trust me, highly recommend Soma. For anybody who's not on the live stream right now, it's SOMA Soma. I will put a list of all these games in the description underneath the podcast for those of you guys who aren't on the live ones. You're not like, Soma, how the hell is that spelled? Is that like, is there like 7 A's in that? No, dude, it's Soma. SOMA Soma. But yes. All right. Next one is gonna be another one of those weird games. I have a lot of the games on my list are gonna be sequels. So like a lot of times what happens with survival horror games is they will put out a game that's like amazing. Like the first one is like amazing, and then the second one is like another level. And a lot of like Resident Evil 2 was like that. Resident Evil 1 is fantastic, but Resident Evil 2 is so good. And Little Nightmares 2 is so good. And like Dino Crisis 2 is really good. And like Dead Space 2 is really good. Like it's a survival horror thing, man. They get the funding and they get the hype. And it's sort of, the world's sort of already built and they expand on it, man. The sequels are always so good. And with survival horror games, Quake 2 is another one. The original Quake is great. Quake 2 is another level, man. That game is so good. That's more of FPS, but you guys get where I'm going with that. But anyway, this is another one. I was just talking about this last night. Like, Little Nightmares 2 scares me so bad. Like, there are, like, for real, like, frantic moments where I was, like, running from a goddamn life. Like, it's not really a spoiler, but there's a portion of this game where you are running in the dark with flashlights, and that flashlight is the only thing keeping you alive, and you're about to die. And your flashlight's about to go out. And I'm talking like shit crawling on the ceiling, fucking scary. Little Nightmares 2 is like, it's not like anything else. Maybe Inside, it's like that, like side scroller kind of game. But this game is so fucking creepy. I highly recommend it. The first one's also very good, but the second one was just like a whole nother level of like, holy shit. Basically, to set the scene, you without spoiling anything, you play this little tiny, so your character's little tiny and everything else is huge. And you play this little tiny character and you sort of meet up with the character from the first game and you guys are traversing this like, hellscape of like a town island thing. And you're going through like a school and a kitchen and all kind of weird, like areas. And essentially like each area has like an antagonist in it, like a different boss, and you go through different areas like in that particular area of the game, and they follow you around and chase you around and shit. It's like real creepy. I can't get into too much, but yeah, Little Nightmares 2 comes in at number 5. Super good, man. It's really good and it's cheap too. I want to say you can get that game for $20. It might be a little more expensive than that. It's been out for a minute now, but highly recommend it. It's really good. Let's do this. Number 4 on my list. Number 4 is going to be an obvious one. Silent Hill 2. It's another sequel. I'm telling you guys, it's so good, man. Silent Hills, like all these sequels, man. Maybe I'm just a sequel person. I don't know. Highly recommend this game. It's the sequel to obviously to Silent Hill. So basically what happens is it's sort of similar. Well, a lot of people have seen the movie and not a lot of people played the game. Well, a lot of people played the games. I shouldn't say that. So basically what happens is this guy's wife dies, or he thinks she's dead. And he basically gets like I think it was a letter. You got a letter from her saying like, hey, come to Silent Hill, like I'm here. And he's like, what the hell? And so he goes to Silent Hill and essentially gets stuck. And why you're in so Silent Hill is essentially hell. And anybody who's there, this isn't really a spoiler, but anybody who is there is usually there for a reason because they were a bad person. And they've done something to deserve being there. And so what happens is Silent Hill is like normal, and then it flips, and you were literally like in a hellscape with like creatures and shit chasing you around. And like Pyramid Head, who's like this big dude in a loincloth, with like a sword, a big giant sword, and a pyramid on his head, like a metal like torture device on his head. And he like grabs people and kills them, and like there's like nurses, there's like contorted nurses and all kind of crazy shit. But essentially he's there looking for his wife, and he's like traveling through like this hellscape town. The ending is really crazy. This is not a spoiler. This is one of those weird games where like there's I don't know if I want to spoil it. There's like an ending to this game that you're like, what? It like doesn't actually make any sense. It's like a joke. It's like a special ending or a secret ending. But yeah, highly recommend Silent Hill 2. It's really good. It's a classic. Made classic enough they made a movie out of it. A couple movies. None of them were really that great. The first Silent Hill was fine. But highly recommend this game. It's very, very good. So far we have number 4, Silent Hill. Number 5 is Little Nightmares 2. Soma's number 6. Dead Space is number 7. Last of Us is number 8. Dino Crisis is number 9. And Condemned is number 10. And number 3 is Manhunt. Manhunt. This game. So, this game was amazing. I don't necessarily think they'll ever make another one, right? I don't think they'll ever actually make another one of these. But basically, what happened is, it's been like 20 years. You, I think, are convicted of a crime. Or like, there's this like crazy shit going on where you end up in a position where you have to like fight your way through, like dudes. Like you have to like pick up objects around you and like sneak around, and like it's literal manhunt. Like you have like there's dudes trying to kill you, like stalking around, and he had like come up behind him and like find creative ways to kill them. It's like Hitman, but like way darker. And there's all these like weird, like pig boss dudes, and like it gets really weird. But yeah, Manhunt is also a game that I think took a lot of controversy back in the day because it does some stuff, right? Like it's got, I mean, you're literally manhunting. So like people are like, oh my God, it makes people violent. It's like, no, it's just a cool ass game, man. We like to play. But I don't ever think we'll get another Manhunt game. But I'm telling you, I played this game like a million times. Like, oh, I wonder if I could sneak through and not kill anybody. Or like, I wonder if I could like sneak through this area here, right? Like, and the voice acting is really good in this game. Like, it's really good. Manhunt's great. It's why it's number 3 on my list. I love the hell out of this game. I put like a bunch of hours into this game, Manhunt. All right, guys, number 2 on the list. So, number 2 on the list, it's going to be Code Veronica. I'll just put Code V because I don't feel like typing Veronica out. All right. So you guys should know what my number 1 is. You guys should know what it is. But Resident Evil Code Veronica. Man, like one of the most unappreciated Resident Evil games in the series. I don't understand. I don't get it. Like fans of this game love this game, and then everybody else just disregards it. You know what's funny is like I think it was one of the last like tank controlled Resident Evil games too, at least for a while. I want to say Revelations and Revelations 2 I think have similar controls. But this was like old school like Resident Evil 1, 2, 3 like tank controls. And then they put out Resident Evil 4 and like it kind of got a little more modern. But so basically what happens in Code Veronica, to set the scene, is you are playing as Claire and you're going to find your brother. And you get on this helicopter and you find out there's this island where Umbrella may or may not be doing like experiments, and you think your brother's being held there. So it's like a prison. So you go to get your brother and the helicopter crashes and you wake up in a jail cell and you're being held, and the shit hits the fan on the island, and we go from there. The thing about this game that like, this game was very hard. Part of it was the puzzles, but part of it was also like, things would chase you like vertically. So this game introduced creatures that could like, I don't want to spoil anything, but they could like use their body to like scale like up things. So like you would like you could go to like the second level and they would scale up and get you, which is crazy. We're not talking like a licker like on the ceiling. We're talking about like the creatures in this game. Some of them have the ability to like actually go from like the first level to the second level, which is crazy. They had not done that. I don't think they've done that. Well, technically, I think Nemesis did that where he would jump around and like, but I don't think, I'm trying to think if they ever did that in a Resident Evil game before this. I don't think they did. Nemesis could chase you and jump around and shit, but like, not like, it would be like, if a zombie was on the first level of the police station and you were on that second level and he actually jumped up over the railing, that's what I'm talking about in this game. It's like real crazy. This game also has 2 of the goofiest antagonists ever. I love them. It also has a version of Albert Wesker that's like really weird. There's a giant naked creature in this. There's like, it's crazy. Resident Evil Code Veronica, love this game. Also, for some reason, it's really hard to get. I think they re-released it on Xbox, but that's it. It's really hard to get anywhere else. But my number 1 survival horror game should not surprise anybody. Resident Evil 2 Remake. Resident Evil 2 Remake. Should not surprise anybody. Should actually not surprise anybody. Resident Evil 2 Remake, man. If you haven't played this, I highly recommend it. I think it's available everywhere on all platforms, pretty much, I think now. Yeah. PS4, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, Xbox Series X, PlayStation 5, and Microsoft Windows. Yeah, it's just not on the Switch, because nothing is on the Switch. I love my Switch. I'm kidding. I literally have one like right here. But it's not. I'm sure it's a frame rate thing. But Resident Evil 2 Remake. Arguably one of the greatest games ever. It's like a fucking 96 or some shit on like Metacritic. I think it's like a 96. Resident Evil 2 was a game I actually played on, I think, at least 2 different systems. I played it on PS2 and I played it on N64 and like the original. And I want to say at one point it was on the GameCube. I want to say Resident Evil 2 was on the GameCube, but I don't remember. It's funny, I have a GameCube back there. I've played this at least on 2 different systems. This game. Not this game, but the original. Sorry. And it's crazy to me that they were able to take a game that is that revered and is that good, and they did they made one of the greatest games ever. It is so good. But basically, if you have never played this game before, you end up playing as one or two characters. You get to pick one or the other. You play as Claire, who's a lady. She's like looking for her brother, Chris. You play as Claire from Code Veronica. This is before Code Veronica. So, or you play as Leon, who's like a rookie cop. It's basically like Welcome to Raccoon City, like the movie, kind of, but not that. That was not this. So, most of the game centers around a police station. Your brother works there, so you go there looking for your brother, and Leon works there, so he goes there for work, right? So the city goes to hell, gets overrun by zombies, and you're in the police station trying to figure out basically what the fuck's going on. This game is fucking so good. It's so scary. The lighting is really good. The sound is really good. The voice acting's great. You get like an over-the-shoulder camera angle, and you can pop like body parts off of zombies, and like you shoot them in the face and their eyeballs come out and all kind of like crazy ass shit. Like it looks great. Like everything looks really good. It's a beautiful game. Just beautiful game. And like, like halfway through, shit gets weird and stuff starts to chase you. I don't want to ruin that, but that's a whole nother level. And you can hear it coming to do. And you're like, shit. And you like, I'm telling you, it won't like I was literally hiding behind boxes and you could just hear him thumping around. You're like, shit, dude. But anyway, yeah. Super good. It's pretty close to the original too. Like there's certain things like some of the stuff at the end is a little different. No, just as far as like I've played Resident Evil 2 so many times that I can tell you every single thing about that game. And there's some stuff like I'll be honest, like there's a moth boss in like the original that's not in this one. And they're like, right, there's like a moth boss and there's like a whole ass plant thing. Like not little plant dude, but like a whole big one. And you know what I mean? Like there's stuff like that they took out. It's fine. I remember stuff like that. So I'm like, damn. Like, I was looking for the little moth room with the larva in it and stuff. But, like, just little tiny things like that. But they got it pretty close. The game is really good. That, and there's, like, one death in the police station, or one or two that don't really make any sense. But other than that, yeah, Resident Evil 2 Remake is my absolute favorite survival horror game ever. Nothing really even comes close to this. As far as hours put in, Silent Hill 2's up there. Just as far as hours put in. Yeah, I put in a lot of hours into Silent Hill 2. Just like I put a ton of hours into Last of Us and Dino Crisis. But that'll wrap it up for episode 1, Shambling Horror Podcast. You can find us on Spotify. And I will be putting these episodes out on Friday on my Twitch. We'll be doing them live. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Fridays. When I nail down a day to actually have a release date on Spotify, I will let you guys know. I'm still trying to familiarize myself with that. I'm also on YouTube, Garrett on YouTube. I do tons of playthroughs of these games. Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3 Remake, tons of stuff like that. So yeah, if you enjoy my content, definitely, come by and see us on Twitch and on YouTube. And for those of you guys in a live broadcast, I'm going to take about 5 and I'll be right back. We're going to play some Elder Scrolls. I will be right back, guys. Bye.